Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Healthier and Happier podcast. I'm Matthew Daria. Today, I talk with Kathleen Draper, a registered dietitian of 7+ years. We discuss the importance of a good why and how that can make or break your health journey.
How is your current situation affecting your life?
We talk about setting goals and using the SMART goal system. These goals are going to lead you to accomplishing your why. We talk about 4 areas that you might want to consider when setting goals.
Focus on eating more foods that are ingredients and less of the foods that have ingredients.
And last but not least, we talk about why it's important to be fair and patient with yourself while you're on this journey.
We're not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Don't want to be.
Yeah, neither do I. Let's get into it. Kathleen, thank you for being on the show today. I really appreciate your time. Very excited to have you here.
Always happy to be here, Matt.
I want to kind of just jump right in, though, with this and talk about starting a health journey and what is that process and what does that look like? And what are some things that people need to have in mind before they even start it? And the first thing that comes to mind that's very important is your why. Like, why are you doing this health journey? What is the reason you are trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish? You know, without that why, you're not going to succeed the way you want.
And it's got to be way more than my doctor told me to.
Yes, absolutely.
Why is it important to you? How is your current situation affecting your life right now in a negative way?
Yeah.
Such that that goal is something positive to work towards, something you want to work towards, not just because, because we're all kind of somewhat kids at heart. Last thing I want to do is my doctor told me I had to, so I'm here.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there when you said, how is it affecting your life? Right? Because that's usually something is affecting our life that there's a reason why we want to change that. And I think, you have to find out, you have to know what that is. It's your intrinsic motivation, right? It's what's going to motivate you when things aren't going right, or things aren't going well, or you feel like you're not accomplishing your goals, or you're not moving in the direction you want to. When you have the motivation internally, that is going to push you forward. It's not like extrinsic motivation where, let's say, when you were a kid, your parents or whoever had said, hey, I'll give you this if you do this task. Right? That's extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation comes from the inside of you and what is pushing you to accomplish your health journey.
I think it's important to note that we're not always 100% motivated, right?
Oh, gosh.
I think that's where the why comes from. You can listen to even Olympic athletes and they'll tell you that they're not always 100% motivated and they're freaking Olympic medalists, right? So the why, it's that, what is that destination that you are determined and dedicated to get to that's going to help to keep you disciplined through those times when you're not feeling as motivated?
Absolutely. I mean, we are not going to be perfect. And I think that's something I want the listeners to hear right now is that no one is perfect. You're not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. It's okay. You're going to slip up from time to time, and that's going to happen. That's normal. It's not fair to yourself to expect to be perfect on this journey. And I think that if you go into it knowing that things are going to slip up, and don't use that as an excuse to be like, oh, well, Matt said I'm going to slip up, so it's cool. I'm just going to take it very easy and just chill. No, you got to work at this. You have to put 100% in, but it's not going to happen perfectly all the time, and that's okay. That is okay.
Well, and I'm sure you do too. I love to be transparent with my patients and my clients. I'm in the field of nutrition and health and wellness. And does my diet look perfect all the time? Heck no. Exactly. If I go to a birthday party or a wedding, I'm going to want a bit of the ice cream or the cupcake or whatever the case is, right?
Yes.
I'm going to do pizza on occasion with my family. That's just, it's not an everyday food.
Right.
Because I have goals too, just like anybody else. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Don't want to be.
Yeah, neither do I. Yeah. Well said. Well said. So I want to share a quote that I found. With a strong why powering you, your health journey becomes a path towards a happier, healthier you. I can't say enough of how much that captures what we're trying to establish here. That why is going to be the beginning of everything. And it's going to make things easier for you. And it's going to make everything, healthier and happier if you keep focusing on that and you keep going back to that during the hard times.
I love it though, because it says your health journey becomes a path, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't say it's a straight path.
Right.
Nobody has a straight path.
Right.
And so, but there's that destination, right?
Yeah.
And we're weaving and finding our way through the setbacks, but it's the why that helps us get back on track.
Yeah.
We do have a setback, or life throws us a curveball, because it will, and all the things.
Throws us curveballs all the time. All the time. Sometimes more than just one curveball. And you just got to deal with it. So lean into it and work with it, and work with what's going on in your life. And, if you feel like the world has got you down and you don't have time to work on your health journey, just focus on just one thing that you want to accomplish. Don't focus on all of the goals that you have. Just focus on one. Just focus on one until you feel like you can come up for a breath of air, or until you feel like you've accomplished that one goal, and then move on to another goal. But just if everything is just happening all at once and you just don't feel like you have the time to accomplish everything, then just focus on one thing.
That's I feel like we're getting into goals, Matthew. So why don't you instead help, how does somebody come up with their why?
So it's important for you to have some reflective questions. And I'm going to kind of give you some ideas of what those look like. So some reflective questions could look something like this. Why do you want to become healthier? What is motivating you to make this change? How does my current health impact my life? What are my long-term health aspirations? And what will I gain by achieving better health? For instance, more energy to play with grandkids or confidence to travel. These are questions that are a great way to start with trying to find out what your why is and trying to understand where all this energy or motivation is stemming from for you to become healthier. The other thing is, once you start answering these reflective questions, then you need to kind of come up with your why and understand what your why is. And some of these whys can be something like this, doesn't have to be, but these are some examples of powerful whys. So improve energy levels to spend quality time with the family, or reduce chronic pain to pursue an active lifestyle, gain the confidence to wear clothes you love, or invest in your future health for a longer, fulfilling life. So these are great whys. And you can adopt these if you feel like these align with what you're working with or what you're trying to accomplish. But again, use those reflective questions to help you to understand what your why is. It might be different from this. That's fine. It might be the same exact thing as one of these. That's fine too. But know what your why is.
Your examples too are pretty general, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
They really, as much as you might take one of these, you still want to ask yourself those questions and get it specific to you. Like, for example, my father changed his entire way of eating and living when his daughters were born. And he did that because it was very specific to him. No man in his family had lived past their 30s, period. And he wanted to outlive them. He wanted specifically to be able to live to see his daughters walk down the aisle. And now he's sticking around as long as he can because he wants to see his grandkids grow up.
Yeah.
So your whys will change, but they also have to be very specific. It's not just like, I want to live a longer life. I want to live a longer life because, why do you want to live a longer life? Keep asking the why until you get real specific for you. Yeah.
No, that's very well said. And thank you for sharing this story about your dad. I think it's important for the listeners to hear stuff like that and to kind of see what, give for examples for what they're looking for. So now that we've kind of set our why, let's kind of come back to me already jumping ahead and get to goals, right? So once you have your why, then you can go ahead and set goals for yourself. And these goals are going to lead you to accomplishing your why. right? And it's important that you set small obtainable goals. I'm going to kind of get that right out of the gates here. It's very, very important to start with small obtainable goals. That is going to set you up for the most success. So why do we set goals? So one, they provide a clear direction. Okay. They help prioritize your actions towards your why. They help track progress towards your why, and it helps you stay accountable to yourself. Now, I'm going to be honest, staying accountable to yourself can be very difficult. So don't get down on yourself if for some reason you're having a hard time accomplishing that last task there of staying accountable to you. When you're setting goals, it's important to understand what type of framework you're going to use to kind of help you create a specific goal for your why, or to help you get towards your why. And one of those frameworks is the SMART goal framework. Now, a lot of people have heard this before, so it might be a review for them, but some may not. And so what the SMART goal framework is it's broken up into 5 different topics. So you have specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Each one of these helps you create a goal for what you're looking to accomplish. So specific is there to clearly define what you want to achieve. Measurable is to track progress within your defined metrics. Attainable is to set realistic goals that challenge but don't discourage you. And I think that's very important. In fact, this is probably one of the most important aspects of the SMART goal framework that I think is the most important, is because if you don't set realistic goals, you are setting yourself up for failure. It is so important that whenever you create a goal, you look at it and be like, yes, I can do that. If you look at it and you're like, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is going to take so much time. I don't have that time. I don't know even where to start. You're already setting yourself up for failure. So make sure whatever goal you do, it is attainable. There is no too small of a goal that you can create for yourself. That's very important. I want you to hear that. There is no too small of a goal that you can create for yourself. Then there comes relevant, which ensures the goals align with your overall vision or with your why. And then time bound, which is set a time frame for achieving your goals. You want to be careful whenever you're on a weight loss journey or setting a goal for weight loss, that you don't set a time-bound goal for weight loss. And that's just mainly because it can get very difficult if you are noticing that you are not on track to lose that weight by a specific time. So if you are on a weight loss journey, I do highly recommend not setting a time-bound goal for your weight loss. Use it as your overall arching goal, sure, but don't use it as one of your small goals to get there. So there is a quote that I want to share with everyone that I think really helps with setting goals and why they're important. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. It's really important. Again, it kind of comes back to that setting small and obtainable goals for yourself, because you want it to be consistent. You want to be able to come back to it day in and day out and keep working towards it. So that's like the consistency there is very, very important. So the small aspect of the goal is where that it comes into play to help you stay consistent with it. Obtainable or attainable is also there for you to feel not overwhelmed and not to feel like it's some giant mountain that you've got to climb to accomplish it. So, doing things day in and day out and keeping it consistent and you could even say sustainable to where it's easy enough for you to do it leads to greater and greater success.
Well, and I think the thing too is to think about it like, because you say day in and day out, and then for some, especially those that have that like all or nothing thinking, right? It can very easily be like, oh, well, I screwed up today, or I didn't hit my goal today. It's aiming for just like 1% better. Right? 1% better every day. Yeah. You're not going to necessarily hit all your goals, even if they're small and attainable every single day.
Yeah.
But you are being consistent. You're being 1% better. 1% better every day leads to 37 times better by the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's a huge exponential increase, right?
Yeah.
And just keeping focused on that why. Not giving up. That's the only failure, is giving up. So if you really legitimately don't get 1% better one day, right? It's not a failure. It's a temporary setback. Right. Get back at it. That's the consistency. Even if it's not every day, it's just not giving up.
What you had said, Kathleen, is very helpful there. And I appreciate you bringing that up, because it is true. You want to be careful not to fall into that trap of the all or nothing focus.
Which is a trap a lot of us have, right?
Absolutely.
And as an added kind of, if you need help with it, that counselors, therapists are wonderful tools. Dietitians can help if we're in the specific area as well.
Yep.
We got you.
Yep. And that actually brings us up to our next topic area. It's a wonderful segue. Sure. Thank you. Which is finding, your support staff, or, understanding who is going to be a part of your support system, right? So anytime you embark on a health journey, it's important to have a support system, whether that's family and friends, whether it's specific healthcare professionals, support groups, online communities. Finding anything like that can be extremely helpful and help you stay on track with your goals, as well as, your overarching why. It's important to think about this. It's just, again, another step. You figure out your why, you start setting goals, you start thinking about goals, you start thinking about your support staff or your support system to help you stay in place and help you continue to move forward and make progress on your goals. But it's also important to find the right support system, right? So you could easily find a friend and ask them to help you out. But if they're not into it and they're kind of very negative, that's not going to help you reach your goals. So it's very important to find people that are going to align with your goals and are willing to support you and help you. So make sure you're finding positive people. If you're getting health professionals to assist you, like Kathleen said, like a counselor or us as dietitians, if you're looking for those people, make sure they're knowledgeable in the area of what your goal is. What you're trying to overall accomplish. Make sure they know that they're trained and they're knowledgeable in those areas. The other thing, and this is also very important for the viewers to listen to, is do not be afraid to ask for help. If you are struggling on your health journey, ask for help. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a medical professional. Let these people know that you kind of need support. Now, again, make sure you find the support that you're comfortable with. That's very important. Don't just go out and do something that you're not comfortable with and be like, oh, well, this wasn't helpful because I'm not comfortable doing it. Make sure you find something that you're comfortable with. And that also
find people who, they're not just going to be cheerleaders, right? But they're also not going to sabotage, right? They're going to be encouraging. Yeah. So if you're trying to get good sleep or stop drinking so much, the last thing you want is a buddy who's like, hey, 11 o'clock at night, like, let's go out and party. Right? Even though he's supportive, but like, he's also sabotaging.
Yeah.
Support systems are great too for celebrating milestones, Matt. I know we do a lot of celebrating.
Yes.
I love to celebrate, and they're not just scale victories, right? But all kinds of milestones. But I'm going to ask you this, because I love turning the spotlight around. What do you do if you don't have friends and family to be your support people?
That's a great question, actually. And there are people who kind of probably run into that issue. And I think one of the things you can look into is, again, online communities or support groups. Those are always there and available to a certain degree. Also, looking into health professionals. If you have health insurance, use it. You're paying for it, use it. You reach out to a a registered dietitian, reach out to a counselor, reach out to a psychologist, reach out to someone who you feel like can help you move in the direction that you need to. So, if you don't have people that in your life that you feel like are not going to be a positive influence, then, reach out to other areas and reach out to those medical professionals, reach out to those online communities or those support groups if you're comfortable with that. So
if you're not, other options might be, churches usually are great
Yes.
support networks.
Absolutely.
Other
Yes.
organizations you might be involved with, or getting involved in something. If your goal is to run if that's the long-term goal, right?
Sure.
Run a marathon,
Right.
you find a local running group. Those people are absolutely going to be supportive of
Oh,
any
yeah.
running role that you have, big or small.
Oh, yeah.
And you can learn from them. You'll get encouragement, and you'll make friends through there.
Yeah. Yeah. Groups like that. And I've had a couple patients join running groups because they want to do this like couch to 5K focus or kind of goal for them to run a 5K. So,
Or joining a gym and an exercise class, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't just have to be running groups. I want to make sure that was clear. But
right.
there are other activity groups or things. It could be mall walking, right? It could, whatever the case may be. There are groups that get together and socialize as they mall walk.
Yeah, absolutely. If you aren't sure, there are things out there. If you don't know of anyone close in your group of people that you are either live with or spend time with, there are plenty of options out there for you. You just got to find them. You just got to search for them a little bit. But those are great examples, Kathleen. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Actually, there's a professor. The professor's name is Dr. Dragezit, who is in global public health and primary care at the University of Bergen. And one thing that she mentioned that I thought was pretty interesting and kind of goes along with what we're trying to talk about, support system and why they're important, is, social support has proven to be health promoting by strengthening individuals' coping abilities, health, and quality of life while facing stress. These associations have been seen in many different populations of both healthy and sick people. So it's really important for you to have and find that support system. It's really going to help you on your journey, on your health journey, or whatever you're trying to accomplish. So now that we've kind of gone through a couple of different things on how to start your health journey and things you need to think about before you actually even start it, we're going to get into those 4 areas. But before we get into those 4 areas, if you're finding a lot of this information to be helpful, feel free to go ahead and subscribe and like below so you can help us reach out to other people and spread some of our information to help others start their health journey. Now, remember, any of the information provided today is solely for educational purposes. It's not meant to be medical advice. So just keep that in mind as we continue to move forward. Okay, so the 4 areas. This is a very exciting aspect of setting up your goals and your why and your health journey. These are 4 areas that we focus on as registered dietitians. Kathleen and I, we focus on these 4 areas with all of our patients, and they are very, very helpful because they kind of focus on the whole person themselves. So the first one is food. Food is going to be very, very helpful, whatever health journey you're on and whatever you're trying to accomplish. And the reason is that, if you don't eat in a healthier manner, you're not going to feel well. It's just simple as that. So it's important for you to try to incorporate and think about how food is going to play a role in your health journey or with what you're trying to accomplish. There's a nice quote that Bethany Frankel said: "Your diet is a bank account. Good food choices are good investments." And it's just simple as that. Good food choices are good investments.
I love that quote.
I know, right?
So much.
Yeah, it is really, really good. And so I highly, highly recommend when you are thinking about your health journey, think how food plays a role and how it's going to support you on your journey. There was a study by James and colleagues, and in that study, they had mentioned that lifestyle interventions that improve diet quality, therefore, have the potential to positively affect both physical and mental health, thereby reducing the burden of disease on both fronts. This is so important. Lifestyle interventions that improve diet quality, therefore, have the potential to positively affect both physical and mental health. Physical and mental health are going to be playing a huge role in whatever health journey you're trying to accomplish. No matter what it is, your mental health, your physical health is going to play a role, whether you want it to or not. It's just simple as that. So making sure that you are focusing on foods that are going to help you accomplish that task, or just how you're going about eating food in general is also, or where you're getting your food from is also a good idea to think about too.
I think it helps people, like, now that there's been more research in the last decade on the whole gut brain axis.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think more people are aware of it now, right?
Yeah.
The impact, such a profound impact, not just on our physical health, but our mental and emotional as well.
Yeah, it is actually this whole gut brain focus, and the studies that are being done on it is just fascinating. It really is. The things that they're coming out with and how it can affect mood. It's just, it's kind of mind blowing in a way.
We're still learning because there's so much coming out of it.
Yeah. So some lifestyle interventions to kind of help improve diet quality are reducing your intake of sugar sweetened beverages. So, non-diet sodas, flavored juices, flavored juice drinks, sweetened sports drinks, sweetened teas, and sweetened coffees. That can be a very good way to start to improve your diet quality. Reduce your eating out or ordering in, and cook more at home. More fresh ingredients. What you're putting in the food. Increase your intake of whole fruits and vegetables. Absolutely, that's never a problem. Always try to incorporate fruits and vegetables into your eating plan. And then eat more whole grains, brown rice, whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, things like that. Now, some of these might sound simple to some people, but others may not be aware of that. And that's why we're kind of going over it.
I heard someone say recently, and I forget who it was, but to focus on eating more foods that are ingredients and less of the foods that have ingredients.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I really do like that. All right, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. Now, if you're kind of new to this and the whole lifestyle interventions to kind of improve your diet quality, if this is kind of new to you, if you're looking for more information on how to improve your diet quality, I'll put a link below, but you can go to www.myplate.gov, and that's a good resource for you to kind of help you start to create ways on how to eat healthier and how to change your eating regimen to be healthier. Next focus is going to be hydration. It's really, really important that when you are thinking about your goals and your health journey, hydration needs to be a big part of that. And if you're a basketball fan, you're going to know who this person is. So Stephen Curry said, drinking water is essential to a healthy lifestyle, which is 100% correct. Don't think that hydration doesn't have a role with whatever you're trying to accomplish as a health journey, because it does. It's going to be a part of everything. Why is hydration so important? And why is it going to help you on your health journey? Well, because one, it's going to enhance physical performance. It's going to help sharpen your mind. It's going to boost energy levels. And it also supports your digestive health, as we were just talking about before, about your gut microbiome. So one of the studies done by Popkin and colleagues states water or its lack, dehydration, can influence cognition. Mild levels of dehydration can produce disruptions in mood and cognitive functioning. So there we go again, talking about mood and how one of these topic areas, or these 4 areas, can affect your health journey. If one of these areas are affecting your mood, guess what? That's going to put a damper on your health journey and accomplishing your goals. So very, very important for you to focus on or include hydration in your health journey and make sure that is something you're paying attention to.
Well, and that particular quote, even mild, right? Even just a little bit of dehydration affects our body profoundly.
Yeah. Now, you're probably wondering at this point, like, okay, hydration is so important. Well, why aren't you telling me how much water I need to drink? And that's a great question. But it's a little bit more involved than just giving you a general idea. So, I think that's something that Kathleen and I are going to get into in another video. But, understand that continue to get water in and drink water throughout the day to support your overall health. That's kind of one of the reasons why we're not going into detail about it, because we could spend a lot of time on just hydration alone in its own video. So
it depends too, right? Like it depends on your body size, your sex and age and metabolism and the climate, the weather, the place in the country that you live, the altitude, whether you're pregnant or breastfeeding.
Right.
Your activity levels, so it does get very, very personalized as well.
Lots of variables that'll play a role into figuring out how much water you do need. So let's go over some tips on how to kind of stay hydrated and can kind of keep you including fluids in during your day. One is to keep yourself on a schedule. Keep yourself regularly on a schedule of when you're drinking water. Drink water as soon as you wake up. There are some of my patients who decide to have a glass of water as soon as they wake up, and I think that's a great idea. There's no better way to get you hydrated than start drinking as soon as you wake up, since you're probably more so dehydrated in the morning from the time span that you have gone without drinking water when you're asleep. Carry a reusable water bottle. That's always good to have. Whether you're at work, you're at home or something like that, always keep it on you. Make that like your new best friend. Take it wherever you go, and make sure you have it near you to fill up as you're going through your day. Set reminders on a phone. There are tons of apps now. If you are having a hard time being on a schedule and you forget to carry your water bottle with you, there are tons of apps that you can download for free on your phone that will remind you to drink water.
Or if you're not an app person, set alarms on your phone. We all have alarms.
Right.
They're obnoxious, but they work.
Yes, that is very true. Yeah, absolutely. That'll work just fine. And then lastly, if you're the type of person who does not like the taste of water, because that happens, just depending on where you live, the water's going to taste differently. Use a flavor enhancer. Use a water flavor enhancer. It's best to kind of think about trying to use a sugar-free version if at all possible. But if not, try to find one that has the least amount of sugar as possible. And, those can be very, very helpful with allowing you to stay hydrated.
Use fresh fruits and vegetables and herbs. I mean, we're going into summer months.
Yeah.
Produce is going to be bountiful. Throw some in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great point. Absolutely. If you've never done fruit infused water or certain vegetable infused waters, I highly recommend you start looking into that, because that can really make your water taste a whole lot better. If you are struggling with the taste of water, it really makes a difference. There are some very interesting combinations that you can use with fruits and vegetables and herbs together. Next, I want to talk about is exercise. So exercise is always going to be a part of your health journey, whether it's just walking, whether it's running, whether it's having a strength training program. Doesn't matter what it is, exercise is going to play a very important role in whatever health journey you're trying to accomplish. There's a really good exercise quote that I want to read. Exercise not only changes your body, it changes your mind, your attitude, and your mood. Again, going back to the mind and mood and attitude, all of those things are very important for your success on a health journey. If you are positive and you are excited and you're feeling good, and you're in a good mood, you're more likely to accomplish your goals than if you are in a bad mood and don't want to do anything and not happy and just don't want to really do anything that day. So, it is important for you to consider how exercise is going to play a role into your health journey.
I think it's more than just that, though, Matthew. Like, because absolutely, you get the endorphins going, mood, but I love the part about it changing your mind, right?
Yeah.
Because again, I'm a runner, so I apologize. Like, I'm going to use running as an example. It's not the only example. You go out for a run, and I think so often, and we've talked about it before, you and I, when we fail at diets on repeat, right? It reinforces this negative cycle. We take it personally. It becomes a personal failure versus just a setback, or the diet wasn't the right diet, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And so we constantly then have this negative cycle, and we just compound this negative belief in ourselves. But when you go out and you finish that run, it might have been hard, but you finish.
Yeah.
And you start to shift your mindset about yourself. I can do hard things.
Yeah.
I didn't give up.
Yeah.
It's not me. I can do this. And so I think that's the part that gets me so excited that it focused on bettering the mind. It's not just the other things that I think we all think about, right? It reduces stress and it sharpens your focus and whatever else. But like, it can actually change your thought process about yourself, just getting into some sort of physical activity.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It absolutely can. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for saying that, because it is true. Where how exercise can really get you in the right mind, or in the right state of mind, to be pushing forward and accomplishing the tasks that you need to accomplish. And that's why, some of the benefits, like you had already mentioned, for your mind that exercise does, which is reduces stress, it increases focus, it helps with your sleep.
Yeah, it does.
And it really helps with your sleep. If you haven't been, if you felt like that you have not really exercised much, or you felt like you've been a little sedentary and sitting around and not being very active, you start to be active, you're going to notice you're going to sleep. You're going to have better sleep. It's going to happen. It usually will happen. And so it's important to kind of know that exercise does play that role for that as well. The other things where it's the benefits for your body is improved cardiovascular health, weight management, as well as stronger muscles and bones. So, exercise can really help with the body and mind, and it kind of helps on both of those fronts, which are both very important.
And it boosts your immune system.
And it boosts your immune system. Yes. Which is very important. Yeah. Because no one wants to feel sick, and no one wants to continue to feel sick if they are. So it can be very helpful in that way with your immune system too. And of course, these is just like a small amount of the benefits that exercise provides. There are a myriad or a lot of other benefits that exercise will provide you. So, but these are just kind of some of the ones that we had thought about and wanted to bring to the table and kind of introduce to you. One of the important things, though, is, you had said, like, hey, Kathleen, you had said that you're a runner, right? I'm not a runner.
Yeah.
That's not my thing. Okay. If you had told me that, hey, let's go do some long distance running, I'd be like, no, thank you. You go have fun. I'm going to go weightlift. Like, that is what I enjoy doing. And I think that's also important, that, you need to find the activity that you enjoy doing. Don't feel like you're forced into doing one thing or the other. You have to find what you like, because if you find what you like, you're more than likely going to stick with that, and you're going to keep it consistent. So it's very, very important. Even if you have a friend that says, hey, let's go play pickleball, and you're like, what's pickleball? And they show you and you're like, yeah, this isn't for me. Don't
try it.
Force it. Yeah, don't try to force it. But if you want to try it, try it. And if you like it, great. But if you don't, it's okay. you can
I'm
move
a
on to
firm
something
believer,
else.
just like, I love the no thank you bite at the dinner table with my kids, right? I'm a firm believer in a no thank you trial of exercise. I've known so many people who thought they were never going to be runners, and I'll get them to do a tiny little bit with me. And the next thing you know, they're running freaking half marathons,
Yeah,
right? You don't know until you try it.
it's
A lot
true.
of times we
That is
don't
very
like
true.
things because we
Yeah.
don't think we are going to be good at them, or we think we're going to look ridiculous doing them, or it's going to be too hard,
hmm
rather than acknowledging that, yeah, everything's hard when we start out, right?
Right.
There was a time we couldn't walk. That wasn't
Right.
easy. We didn't give up, and now we love walking. But you absolutely should. I agree with you. Find something that you like. So as much as something right off the bat seems scary or unlikely to be something that you find joy in, giving it a try is important. But then also just then find the things that bring you joy and focus on those. I do love running. I know running is definitely not everybody's cup of tea, and that is completely okay.
Right.
But I want them to find something that they love, to try out things, because when you do, like, running shouldn't, or exercise shouldn't just be about the end goal and like what it's going to do for me for weight loss, right? You want it to be for longevity. You want it to bring you joy. You don't want it to be miserable.
Right.
That kind of defeats the purpose. You want to
Uh,
enjoy what you're doing. You're not always going to enjoy it. I don't enjoy every run I go on,
Right.
right? There are days we don't want to get out there and do the things.
Oh yeah. Oh, there are days that I don't want to go lift, and I
As
don't
with
want
anything,
to-
right? My kids
Yeah.
are fighting the end of school right now. They don't want to go. Gotta go anyway, kid.
Sorry. Yeah. And I think that someone had once said to me, look, even if you are not in it, you may be interested in doing it and you may like it. And usually you feel like you're motivated to work out. There are going to be days you're not going to be motivated to work out, and that's okay.
Yep.
And if you can just at least go through the steps of working out, that's more than not going. So even if it's not like your best workout, or it's, let's say,
Half the
you're
time.
it's half the time, or you're supposed to go for a run and you just decide I'll just go for a walk instead.
Yeah.
Great. That is better than nothing. It's okay. It is okay to not feel like you want to work out, or just today you don't feel like you really want to do it. It's
Well, and
okay.
that comes back to the motivation, right? Because we're
Yes.
not always motivated.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We're not always motivated, and that's okay.
But we're dedicated to that why. And so we're going to get out and do something, even if it's a little something.
Yeah,
And-
I like how you said that. The motivation is one thing, and then there's dedication, which is another thing. And I think that that's also important for the listeners to hear, that you might not be motivated to do it, but if you're dedicated to doing it, you'll do something for that, for whatever you're trying to accomplish. It may not be exactly what you're trying to do or what you're supposed to do or what you want to do, but it's something that you're willing to do. And I think that brings us to one of the areas of exercise, which variety is key, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's important for you to have variety. It helps keep it fresh. It helps keep it interesting. It helps keep it fun. So variety is key when you're trying to exercise. Find a couple of things that you like to do. You might get into like rowing and just consistently just row, or go on a row machine for a while. But what you don't want to do is just keep doing that over and over and over and over again. And then you start getting bored of it, right? And then all of a sudden you're not doing anything because you don't want to do the rowing anymore, and you weren't doing anything else, and you don't want to find interest in anything else. So variety is key. And that also goes with food too. Like I know I have patients, and sometimes this happens to me too. I'll just eat the same thing over and over and over for a little while, and then you just get bored of it, or you get tired of it. You want to try to prevent that as much as possible, because you don't want to be stopping you from having certain foods because you got bored of it, or even exercise. You don't want to stop doing exercise because you got bored of it. So variety is key. Keep that in mind. It's very helpful and very important.
Well, and I think, you mentioned diet and exercise. Like, diet variety is important, not just from the boredom perspective, right?
Correct.
But because
Absolutely. Yes.
you need to get a variety of vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and antioxidants.
Yep.
And
Yep.
also,
All very important.
over and over again, we kind of deplete our microbiome.
Correct.
The same kind of goes for exercise, right? You need cardio and strength, even some flexibility. Like you need variety in that respect too for a more well-rounded approach.
Right. Yeah.
They all have their benefits.
Yeah. Well said. So there's a study done by Ruxiger and Booth. And in that study, they actually talked about how overwhelming evidence exists that lifelong exercise is associated with a longer health span, delaying the onset of 40 chronic conditions and diseases. So I think it's very, very important that you focus on including exercise into your health journey, whatever that may be. Because let's be honest, I'm sure all of us would like to delay the onset of different chronic conditions or diseases. I know I would. With that same study, the author found that exercise improves mental health. Many studies support physical activity as a non-invasive therapy for mental health improvements in cognition, depression, anxiety, neurodegenerative disease, which is Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, and drug addiction. So these are all important aspects that they have brought into play here and how exercise truly improves mental health, which is kind of what you alluded to earlier too, Kathleen, right? With how it affects your mind and gets you kind of in a good place or in a better place.
In so many different ways, right? Besides just our changing our thought processes, besides just improving, I mean, there's actual physical, chemical, even molecular changes that happen with physical activity that benefit not just physical, but mental and emotional health too.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, another reason why exercise is so important in keeping that involved or keeping that a part of your health journey itself. And again, it doesn't have to be this big scary thing of running a marathon or a half marathon. It could just be going out and walking. It could just be, doing chair yoga if you want. Like, be active.
Play with your kids and grandkids.
Yeah, even that. Absolutely.
Exercise snacking.
Yes. Oh gosh. Yes. Shall we talk about exercise snacking?
Because exercise snacking.
How much do you and I both love exercise snacking? A lot. So for those of you that are not familiar with exercise snacking is a term used that is to help people be more active that tend to lead more sedentary lives, or they just kind of sit around at work, or they're they sit around at home. And so what exercise snacking is every hour you try to get up for 1 to 5 minutes and do something active. Set an alarm on your phone or something like that. Now you can always start smaller if you need to, try just like 2 hours out of your day to get up and be active for 1 to 5 minutes, and start there and then continue to go more. But exercise snacking is an excellent way for you to start to become more active. Even if you feel like, all the talk that we've done on exercise and you're like, I'm just not there. I'm at a very introductory level. Yes. Start there. Start with exercise snacking. It's a great introductory way to be more active.
And it doesn't take up much time, right? So,
right.
If you're starting, if it's been years since you've done anything, or, maybe you have depression. And so your energy level, just getting up in the morning is a struggle. So, going for a walk even seems daunting.
Yeah.
Set your alarm, get up and do a wall squat, wall sit, or hold a plank for just as long as you can.
Yep.
It could be doing as many squats as, they don't have to be fast, as you can in 30 seconds, right? It's not even a full minute. You don't have to start with every hour on the hour getting up and walking 3 flights of stairs.
Right.
Start small.
Yeah. Get up and do some high knees or some marching in place. Things like that. 100%.
Walk around your desk, come back and sit down.
Yeah. Perfect. Absolutely. Stand on your toes. Some small things like that could be very, very helpful. And so exercise snacking, is something that I know Kathleen and I use with our clients and our patients as well, to kind of help them kind of get started on their journey. So I do highly recommend you think about that and look into that some more if you're interested on exercise snacking. There's a lot out there on it.
So Matthew, besides exercise snacking, what are
Yep.
some other ways that people can kind of get started, and not just get started, but make more physical activity or exercise a habit?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and so some ways you can do that is, one, schedule it, put it on a schedule, help you stay on track with it, or to help remind you, set reminders, just like with the water, set reminders. That is also helpful to kind of get you to stay on track with exercising and making it a habit. Find a workout buddy. We had talked about that earlier about your support system.
Yeah.
Find someone to work out with. That will help immensely with staying on track and making exercise a habit.
And not just there with like motivation, but accountability, right? It's
Well,
so
yeah,
easy for us
absolutely.
to make
Yeah.
excuses and let ourselves down, but we are not
Right.
going to let that friend down. They're not going to be standing out there in the
No,
cold
we're not.
at 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to be that person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So those are just some simple ways of trying to help make exercise a habit. You can also track your progress if that's something you like to do, that you feel like it'll be helpful and motivating to you to see that you've done like a couple days in a row, or a week or a complete week of exercise or activity. So tracking can also be helpful there.
Well, and you've mentioned apps. I know I have one
Yes.
client who she somehow found this. I don't even know what it is. It made a game out of, she wants to run a 5K.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's a
Yeah.
zombie game. So she's literally killing
Nice.
zombies. It's got some sort of storyline.
I love it.
So the more consistent she is, the further she gets in whatever the storyline and the goal is.
That's cool.
Isn't that neat?
That is really cool. I like that. Yeah, I got to say, the apps
come up
they
with all
make these
kinds of
days for
things.
stuff like that, it's really cool, the things that they can do now. But yeah, the apps are there to help and to kind of help support you and on your health journey. So, don't be afraid to think about that route whenever you're trying to stay on track or you're trying to make a habit of something.
And there is no right or wrong way, because we all are motivated or excited about different things.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what makes us unique, which is awesome.
I love it.
All right. So we're going to move on to last but not least by any means, which is sleep. Sleep is extremely important. There are a ton of studies talking about sleep and how it affects your body, how it affects your mind and your mood, and even your stress. One thing that I want to start off sleep with is a quote. Sleep is the golden chain that ties health and our bodies together. And this couldn't be any more true. Like this is so important to remember, that sleep is the golden chain that ties health and our bodies together. If you don't get adequate sleep, you're going to struggle along your health journey, no matter what you're doing. So with sleep, why is sleep so important? Okay, one, it acts and supports and provides physical repair and recovery. So it'll help repair tissues, rebuild muscles, strengthen the immune system. It also provides mental clarity and focus. So it improves cognition or cognitive function. It improves memory and decision making. And then also it improves and supports your emotional well-being. It helps reduce stress hormones, and it also helps manage anxiety and depression. So sleep does all of this and more. There's so much more that sleep does that we're just scratching the surface on. Seriously, I cannot say to our viewers how important sleep is. And if you're not getting enough sleep, which is for an average adult, should be 7 to 9 hours. And I know you said we're not really going into specifics, but I will go in specific with that, because that is something that you need to start working on now if you can. And if you are struggling with that, talk with your medical provider on how to kind of help you try to enhance your sleep and get better sleep. And we're going to do, Kathleen and I are going to do another video on sleep that we're very excited about doing. So stay tuned for that. But again, these are just a couple of things that sleep does. It just scratches the surface on how it supports us and how it can help us on our health journey. Let's talk about what if you have lack of sleep and you're not getting enough sleep. So remember, I said on an average adult should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. So if you're struggling with sleep and you are not getting enough sleep, that can affect your weight management. Whereas lack of sleep can disrupt the hormones that regulate appetite. It can affect your exercise performance, fuel energy, your energy levels. It can affect your stamina, and it could also increase the possibility of you becoming injured if you are not sleeping enough. Especially if you're a heavy lifter or you're weightlifting with heavy weights. If you're not sleeping a lot or enough, it's easy for you to lose focus. And when you're lifting heavy weights, if you're not focused, you can really injure yourself. So, sleep,
we're just naturally less coordinated, right?
Or just naturally, yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go with that too. So it's very important for your exercise in general for you to get good sleep. And the nice thing is, like we've talked about, exercise helps you sleep and sleep helps you exercise. It's a nice little relationship they got going on there, right? And then one of the other things that sleep, that lack of sleep can affect you in a negative way is that it, like we had said, it can drop your immune system. And so it is a problem when it comes to chronic disease. And if you continue to chronically have poor sleep or the length of time that you're sleeping, your quantity of sleep, that can really affect you later on in life. If you continue to have that for months and years and you continue to sleep for less than that 7 to 9 hour period, if you're doing that for a very long time, that can also potentially aid in chronic conditions and chronic diseases. So it is important for you to get sleep for that matter as well. So, when we talk about chronic diseases, we're talking about like heart disease, diabetes, and some of these other conditions. So it's very, very important for you to try to make sure you get enough sleep. Now, there was a nice research article done by Susan Morley. And in that article, she says, new sleep deprivation studies confirm the relationship between inadequate sleep and a wide range of disorders, such as hypertension, obesity, and type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, impaired immune functioning, and more. So that just kind of goes back to why it's so important for you to get enough sleep and how it can actually cause chronic conditions. So it's so important for you to get some sleep. And, with that said, there was another study done by Ramar and colleagues that talks about how sleep is vital for health and well-being in children, adolescents, and adults. Healthy sleep is important for cognitive functioning, mood, mental health, and cardiovascular, cerebrovascular, and metabolic health. So again, just reaffirming how sleep can affect all these areas that we've talked about and why it's so important to focus on whatever journey you're on, whatever health journey you're on, to make that a very, very important aspect of your journey itself. And, again, as I said, according to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, as an average adult or a general adult needs to be getting at least 7 hours of sleep a night. So sleep is by far, for me, as you viewers hear me talk about it, I'm just giving it away. This is my number one thing here. This is what I'm going to highly recommend, that whenever you're starting your health journey, focus on your why. First, start there. Start understanding what your why is. start understanding on what goals you're going to set for yourself. Use that SMART goal framework. Understand who might be a part of your support system. And then the very first thing that you focus on, I highly recommend it be your sleep. And if your sleep is on target, great, move on to the next thing. But for me, sleep is by far the very most important thing that I focus on with my clients and patients right out the gates. And if their sleep is off, that's the first thing we're focusing on.
Well, and I mean, they've all heard me talk about sleep being my number one too, out of these, if I had to choose one. But sure. It is huge, to the point that Healthy People 2030 includes several sleep-related objectives. Mm-hmm. So for those that, I guess don't really know what Healthy People is, it's a government initiative. They use laws and policies to kind of promote health and safety at local, state, and national levels. And there are so many in this latest iteration, the 2030 objectives, that are sleep focused. And they're sleep focused for a reason, because there are so many of us that are not getting enough. And we're finding so many detrimental effects as a society because of our lack of sleep.
It's a problem. It really is a problem. And it's a problem that can be fixed. For some people, it might be easy. For some others, it could be hard. But I do implore you, and I do recommend that you seek out the help you need to make sure you get good sleep through your medical professionals if you need them, because it is really at the crux. It is everything, and it is going to be one of the main aspects of your foundation for success. So highly, highly recommend that. So that is kind of all the things we had to talk about today, which is not a small amount. We have been over a lot today on the show, and Kathleen, I really appreciate you giving your insights and your support and your thoughts. It is absolutely helpful and very much appreciated. So thank you again for taking the time and spending the time on the show and helping our viewers to understand why we think it's important for you to focus on these things and where to actually start to get people started on their journey. So thank you very, very much for your time here.
Thanks, Matt.
So we're going to kind of end today with a quote that I absolutely love. And this quote is going to be familiar to a lot of people. Some maybe not, but this is a quote by Lao Tzu. And it's, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." And the reason why this quote is so fitting is because you have to start somewhere. If you want to start a health journey or you want to change a behavior for yourself, you have to start somewhere. Just start working on it. One step at a time, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time. Take your time with it. Be patient with yourself and allow yourself to progress at your own pace. Just like I always say here, it's your story at your speed. So make sure that you are taking the time you need to accomplish your goals and your overall goal. Now, any of the research that we've gone over today, I will put in the description below. And if you are interested in seeing a dietitian, I'll put that in the description below as well. And I'll try to get any of the researches that we have mentioned. I'll get those articles up for you to have. And thank you for taking the time to listen to our podcast and listen to our show. We thank all of you for your time, and we look forward to continue putting out videos. And again, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe and like below to kind of get reminders of anything else that's coming up that we're putting, any of the shows that we're going ahead and uploading. And we'd love to hear from you too. If you have any suggestions of things you'd like for us to talk about, feel free to put that in the comments. We'd love to respond to those comments and hopefully kind of help us move in the direction that we're looking to go in. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.